In this video, I'm going to teach you what we've learned over 7 years of running our own CRO agency, scaling over 220 plus brands and generating them over $150 million. So what I'm going to walk you through is all of these steps over here. And what these steps are going to cover is basically how you can scale on Shopify more profitably. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through how you can actually lower your customer acquisition cost and print more money from the traffic that you're already paying for. And this is whether you're a founder, whether you're a media buyer, you're spending a lot of money on ad spend. These trainings contain the most important insights that we've learned over the last years of scaling Shopify brands through our own CRO agency. I'm going to try and go into as much detail as possible. So let's walk through this. What are we actually going to go through? We need to start off with the mindset shift. This is really important. It's how you view scaling on Shopify. A lot of people have got scaling on Shopify completely backwards. And I think AI is just making it worse. It's like putting fuel on a fire. If you have the bad mindset, and you start messing around with AI, you are just going to distract yourself more and you're just going to burn more money. And that is what I see a lot of people doing. It's kind of sad. But let's go through this, the mindset shift. Conversion rate optimization is not really about conversion rate. It's kind of deceiving in the name. This is why I really, really hate this word CRO, even though I have my own CRO agency. You would think I would love this word, but I don't. Why? Because it's very misleading. Still to this day, I get on calls with people and they say to me, I've got a conversion rate problem. You do not have a conversion rate problem. Conversion rate on its own is a terrible, terrible metric because it tells you absolutely nothing. It tells you nothing. Conversion rate does not tell you how profitable you are from that one metric. That is why it is a terrible metric on its own. So you need to start looking at how can we actually figure out if what we're doing is going to make us more money. It's actually going to make more money in the bank. That's what you need to be going into all of your scaling strategy through the lens of. You need to be having that lens, thinking that way. Not, is this thing going to increase my conversion rate? Or is my conversion rate up or down? Because it will always go up and down from day to day. But what you need to look at is, are we making more money? Are we actually getting more money for the money that we're spending on our acquisition? Is our customer acquisition more efficient? So this is the best lens. How you can actually optimize for profit is by improving your offer. And this is why I've got this nice little graphic over here, because weak offers are the number one root cause behind low conversion rate and average order value. So just sit with that for a minute. Weak offers are the number one root cause behind low conversion rate and average order value. Because all of these things that so many Shopify founders care about all the time are just symptoms. Low conversion rate, low average order value, high abandoned cart rate. Get a lot of people about this for some reason, high abandoned cart rates. A lot of people every single week, message me about, what's a good abandoned cart rate? And I smile because it's the same answer that I tell them every single time. That is a symptom. That is a symptom. Same with low returning customers or low LTV and copycat competitors as well. They're all symptoms. And the root cause is your offer. Okay, your offer. Look at how all of these tie back to the offer. Got low conversion rate? It's because your offer doesn't give customers enough of a reason to buy. You got low average order value. It's probably because your offer has nothing that naturally upgrades or upsells people. And high abandoned cart rate, oftentimes is because your offer gives no urgency or incentive to buy right now, or you just haven't done a good enough job at communicating the value of your offer so that people actually don't feel compelled to buy. They're going to go out and find a cheaper alternative on Amazon or from a competitor. And that stuff goes on. So if we go through all of this again, the real mindset shift that I want you to have is that conversion rate optimization has got nothing really to do with your conversion rate. It is about your offer. It is about your offer. It's about maximizing the profit of your offer, maximizing the profit of your store. Because think about it. If you can make more profit for every single visitor that comes to your site, to your funnel, you are going to be able to scale a lot more efficiently. You're going to have more money for the same amount of ad spend, which means that you're going to be able to scale a lot faster. That is the secret. So everything that you do to optimize your ads, your emails, your landing pages, everything should come back to your offer. And this is a really, really powerful mindset to have if you think about it, because it makes scaling on Shopify very easy. The only thing you need to be thinking about before you run any split test or you launch any new creative strategies, you need to ask yourself, how is this in some way going to improve the offer? Is it going to communicate our offer better? Is it going to have a new way of getting people to our offer, i.e. landing pages? Is it going to come up? Are we going to come up with a new way of structuring our offer that might increase our AOV? That's the new powerful way of thinking about all of this. Okay. And if it doesn't change one of these things, if your testing is not changing, if the thing you're about to roll out is not making your offer easier to buy, communicating your offer better, or improving the deal structure itself, then don't waste your time on it. Do something that actually will. The next thing, why is your customer acquisition cost or CAC actually rising? So like we kind of covered, most brands, they blame their scaling problems on symptoms. Okay, like ad creatives, page speed, bad design, niche saturation. But the culprit is almost always a weak offer. We kind of cover this. When you actually start launching better offers, you're suddenly going to notice that your ads perform better, your pages convert better, your customer acquisition cost drops, and your ad spend scales cheaper. This is why you might have seen brands with terrible ads, terrible looking emails, maybe an average and basic landing page doing well. And you're wondering, you're scratching your head, what the heck is going on? Because how can they be doing so well when we're not doing so well? And the reason is they've got a better offer. They're running a better offer on their store. They know their customers on a deeper level. They know what they need to be offering them. They know how to communicate the value of what they're offering them, and they know how to actually deliver that offer as well. So the number one metric that actually matters, the big thing you need to understand when you go into all of this is that since we know now, and hopefully you've realized that conversion rate, tracking your conversion rate, your average order value, they're only telling you a tiny bit of the real picture of what's going on. So you need to have a better metric of understanding which offer is profitable and which offer is actually winning or losing. And that metric is profit per visitor. Okay. And how you actually track this is, or how you actually calculate it is here. You need to calculate your average order value. You need to factor in your variable costs or your COGS, and you subtract the two and you multiply it by your conversion rate. And that will give you your average profit per visitor. Why is this important? Because you will not know if you're running let's say you're running an offer test and you've got offer number 1 over here. Let's call that A. And we've got offer number B over here, and we'll call that B. And let's say this offer, when you're testing it, is costing you, let's just say it's costing you $5 to test that offer. And let's say offer number B is costing you $4. And you've put in here maybe some free gifts and some other item over here or whatever. And this one has got all of these things, all of these products bundled in together. If you don't know what your COGS are, what your actual cost is of fulfilling this offer, what happens if this offer over here ends up getting a higher conversion rate? And it's looking good. It's got a higher conversion rate, higher AOV. But when you actually look at your bank at the end of the month, you're actually making less money with this offer than you would be with this offer. That is why you need to know your profit per visitor. You need to know your COGS. You need to know which offer that you're actually running, how profitable, how much profit you're going to get from it, how much money you're going to make from it at the end of the day. That's why those numbers are extremely important. And I literally just had a call yesterday with a person from a brand who obviously won't say the name, but they were saying to me, oh, I've got a 6% conversion rate. And they were quite happy with their 6% conversion rate. And I was saying to them, if you do not understand what your profit per visitor is or your COGS, if you don't know your numbers, how are you going to understand what is a winner and what is a loser? You won't know. And no AI tool is going to help you with this. If you don't understand this, AI is just going to tell you, do landing pages, do emails, do all of this. And it is just going to burn you money, man. It is going to burn you money. And that is why I think so many people nowadays, at least the people in my community that come to the community and come to the program that we offer, they are totally burned out because they have tried everything. They've tried agencies, they've tried, hiring different people on their team, and they have got no idea what's going on. And they've got all of these AI tools, and they think they need to be doing more when actually they need to be doing less. They need to just strip everything down, keep it simple, launch better offers, launch more offers, track the right numbers, and you're going to be able to make better decisions. That is the formula. And it's really simple. It's never changed. It's never changed. It's the same thing as 10 years ago, as 50 years ago. And hopefully this is a bit of a relief for some of you who are like thinking, I don't know what the heck is going on anymore, and you're getting more confused. Well, you're not alone. And this is basically the secret. Okay. Well, it's not really a secret anymore. It's basically common sense, I would say. So the number one metric that actually matters is profit per visitor. So stop obsessing over clicks, good designs, conversion rate on its own. You need to start asking yourself, did each visitor just get more profitable? How much money are we making from test A versus test B versus test C? How much profit are we actually making? Not which one has the highest conversion rate. To calculate it right, I've told you that's the equation for it. And like we mentioned, better measurement equals better decisions, more cash in the bank. So let's talk about the profit flywheel. Okay, this is very powerful, and this is where everything that I've kind of covered before is going to stack up now for you. Hopefully this will make it clear. And instead of going through all of these points, I just want to show you this graph because I think it kind of explains a bit better. You need to do two things. You can't just run better offer tests. You need to run more offer tests as well. So it's about quality and quantity, two of them. And listen, once you have this mindset, they're going to be very easy for you to do. None of what I'm talking about here is hard. And with AI tools, when you have the right mindset, which I've kind of given to you right now, and hopefully in a very concise and easy way for you to understand, you can go back to using AI tools and make them extremely powerful for you. I'm not saying AI tools are bad, but I'm saying when you do not have the right mindset and the direction, they are terrible for you because they will only distract you and burn more of your money. Now that I've given you the right mindset, if you go back to AI tools and you give it your strategy, it can help you build this flywheel. So with better offer tests and more offer tests, you're going to get more data, which means you're going to get more winners, which is going to increase your profit per visitor, which means you're going to be making more money from the same ad spend. This means that you can increase your spending even more. This is going to allow you to outbid competitors, which is going to win you more customers, which means more traffic is going to enter your store and your funnel, which means that the tests that you're running before are now going to be even quicker for you to run. You can actually end them faster because you're getting a bigger sample size. And that means that you're going to find new winners even faster, and that means even more data, and the whole thing just feeds back into itself over and over and over again. And that is why I call this a profit flywheel. You know, it's a flywheel. It just goes back and back and back and back when you get it right. And it's a compounding loop that basically funds itself. And we've kind of covered that here. So that's basically what we teach in our program and what we help the brands that we're scaling, basically do. With the mindset, with all of the principles that we cover, is build this flywheel. And this is all you really need to scale, and you can do this with ads, with emails, with landing pages, and with offer strategy. That's kind of it. That's all you need. So and this is very key, is before you actually start doing offer testing, I put in this in here because most people, they are sending money to a completely unoptimized store. And it's kind of sad to see it because it's still happening today. You would think that with the AI tools that we have today, most people wouldn't be making these mistakes, but it's still going on. So my point is, stop leaking money before you test anything. So before you get all excited and start building and testing new offers and running new offer testings, audit your store and actually look at where you're actually sending customers. Look at the flow of where customers are going into. 4 out of 5 stores that we audit have a broken mobile experience. And it's true. There is always something that is out of place that is costing you money on your mobile store. It's very rare that I get on a call, on a group coaching call or on a consulting call, and I look at someone's store and I don't find a glaring, obvious problem with it that is costing them money. So the easiest thing that you can do that will make you a lot of money is go and audit your store on mobile and go through it like a customer and actually look at it, browse your store, try and look at it with new eyes and see, is the flow making sense? Are there things that are causing friction? Are there things that are poorly communicating my offer that we can communicate better? Are there elements on the page that I don't even know why they're there? They're not really making it clear on, how people should move forward and what the offer is. Are there sections that are just filler sections that aren't doing anything, that are just dead weight? And do we have a poorly communicated offer in our offer section? Is the value obvious? And on a side note about this, because when I mention this in my group, a lot of people say, well, what does that mean, poorly communicated? How do I know if my offer is well communicated? And what I tell them is this is a very simple way of understanding if your offer is well communicated. Ask yourself this one question: is my offer worth 10 times the price? That's what I say to my team as well when we're doing audits for people. Is it worth 10 times the price? And I'll put a question mark because that's what I want you to ask yourself after you watch this video. And what I mean by that is, let's say you're selling a supplement product for, I don't know, $50, let's say, one-time purchase. Are you communicating in your copy, in your images, in your emails, in your ads, on your landing pages, that your supplement product is going to be worth $500 to someone? Are you communicating that? You might be saying, well, that's ridiculous. Why would I say to someone that it's worth $500? But in your communication, you should be implying to people why it's worth that. It's a good metric to aim for. So what I would say, just to break this down a bit more, is communicate the time saving of using your supplement product. Communicate the how much benefit it's going to give them in their work, in their relationships, in showing up for their kids, the energy that they're going to get from it. I'm just giving the supplement example. And also the savings, the monetary savings compared to getting this amount of value that they're getting from your product. They would have to go to a clinic otherwise to get it. And they would be spending thousands maybe from that. Or they would have to try out all of these other products to figure out to get your formula. They'd have to have this massive supplement stack to get your product that would be costing them hundreds of dollars more each month. You see what my point is? We could communicate all of this on a landing page. And by the time that someone has come through this flow from email, from our ads, from a landing page, in their mind, subconsciously, they are thinking this product is worth so much more than what they're asking me for. And once you've got that going on in someone's head, that your product, that your offer is worth 10 times the price, people are going to think it's a no-brainer. Someone says, make your offer a no-brainer. I mean, I hate when people say that because what do they mean? That's kind of an arbitrary statement, no-brainer, whatever, what does that mean? You need to make it worth 10 times the price. Obviously, most of the time, you're not going to be able to hit all of these different points, but it's a good mindset to go into with any email that you're writing, with any landing page that you're building, with any page that you're prompting AI to go into. Just tell AI, hey, can we communicate to people on this page how our offer is worth 10 times the price? And AI, when you give it just that one single prompt, it's going to output a page that's so much sharper and so much better at selling them. All right, let's move on here. So your offer is costing you sales. So your offer is not just your product. A lot of people, they get confused, right? They think that, my product is my offer. Sometimes I make the mistake of using the word product and offer in the same sentence or using them intermittently. And, that's a bad habit that I'm trying to work to better communicate. But the offer and your product are different. They're not the same. Your offer is not just your product. It is everything that is wrapped around your product, okay? So it's your product, it's your price, it's your packaging, it's your positioning, it's your proof. This is what your offer is. And the key way of looking at it is your offer is in the word, is what you're offering them. This is all your offer. This is what people are paying money for. And that's why I've created this little graph which I call the 5 layers of perceived value, because you can see how they stack up. Your product is basically what you sell. Your packaging is how you bundle and present it. Your positioning is what your product is actually promising for people and how it's actually being framed. Your proof is the reasons that you're giving of why people should believe that the solution that you're selling will work for them. And the price is what they judge everything that you've just communicated to them against. And they ask in their head, and they come back to that formula, is it worth 10 times the price? So that's how everything feeds in here. This is your offer. This is a new lens that I want you to look at your offer through. So, and the highest leverage test that you can do, all come back to this. Price testing. A lot of people in our community love price testing because it's super easy to do. It's really, really quick. And there's a lot of juicy wins that you can get from doing it. But I tell them, don't abuse it. You shouldn't be getting addicted to price testing because you need to move on to the heavier stuff. Getting your messaging sharper, testing new pages, new funnel types, things like that. But the other type of test that you can do is your offer structure itself. Maybe you want to test different kits, different bundles, different ways of selling your product, maybe try out a new subscription offer. Things like that are going to be really, really high value to you. And then also how you position it. So that's in your copywriting, how you're framing your product and who you're comparing it against, how you're packaging it. This is a bit of a harder one to test, right? Not everyone is going to be able to do a packaging test that frequently. But packaging is a thing that not many people think about optimizing. But it's your first impression and your last impression. So packaging, we have our whole module in our program just dedicated to packaging optimization. And it's crazy, you know, how much you can go into depth on just trying to optimize your packaging. But think about it. It really is the first impression that someone has on your actual offer. And it's the last impression that they're going to get when they actually unbox it. And the unboxing is very important as well. That's why we have another module dedicated to that as well, because your packaging and your unboxing, they go together. If someone receives, they've just paid your money and now they're waiting for it in the mail. It's come to them at their door, they're unboxing it, and now in their mind, they're thinking, is it worth the money that I just paid for? You still need to be selling to them. And that's what you should be doing with your packaging and with your unboxing experience, is still selling your offer, selling them that they made a great choice, and also selling them that they should be coming back and buying again, buying either the same product or buying your next product in your funnel that you're selling them to increase your lifetime value. So the goal with the 5 layers of perceived value is to raise the perceived value. And perceived value is literally in the name. It just means the value that people perceive. The reason why we use the word perceived value is because value is no longer tangible in the world that we live in. You know, it's all to do with perception. Perception is everything. And your job as a marketer is to communicate that value to people. This is why people who buy a Nike shoe spend, 5 to 10 times more on it than a cheaper shoe. And I know people who've worked for these bigger brands. I won't name the names of them because I don't want to get in trouble here, but their build quality of their shoes is absolutely terrible. The tangible value that you get from a Nike shoe, from an Adidas shoe, from a Puma shoe, or any other, big brand shoe is ridiculously bad compared to cheaper alternatives that you can get. So all of the value that you're getting from them is in the perception. And the reason why they are as big as they are is because they've done a great job at this. At the 5 layers of perceived value, they've done a great job at communicating the value, of creating the value in your mind that this product that you're buying is actually worth it. The other thing is also killing doubt. So in your landing page, in your emails, and your ads, you need to be removing doubt, handling people's objections. And the final thing is, with all of this, is increasing profit per visitor. When we do a good job at communicating the value of our offer, more people are going to buy, which means we're going to make more profit from the visitors that we're actually sending to our store. Okay, and that's what really matters. All right, so let's go into the next section. Say it better, sell it faster. So once your offer is solid, you need to then test how you communicate it. So as we mentioned, one of the big things that influences perceived value is how you communicate the value. So this is a big thing that I tell the people in our group, and what we teach in our course is all about communication. Another word for this is messaging, okay? And it is honestly the thing that I think most founders and media buyers, agencies struggle with. They're good at maybe coming up with a strategy, but the execution is often terrible. And this is again where AI cannot be subbed in to fulfill this. Your AI tools are not going to be able to communicate well if you do not know what good communication looks like in the first place, if you can't prompt it well. So you first need to understand what good communication is, how to communicate the value of your offer well before you can get AI to do it for you. And marketing is messaging. This is the funny thing that I say to people, is that marketing is messaging. It's all about communication, so sub in the word communication for messaging. The highest leverage tests that you can do with messaging are on the first section of your landing page. Okay, so that means your hero section, your hero imagery, which is this one in here, looking at your ad to page and making sure that the angle matches. So if you have a really good ad, like one of your top ads, then make sure that your top landing page that you're sending all of the ad traffic to is reinforcing the ad angle. Okay, that's a really good messaging test for you to do. And then also looking at below the fold messaging. So the messaging below the hero section, is it really giving people and walking through the 5 layers of perceived value? Is it really communicating how your offer is worth 10 times the price? Those are the things you need to be asking yourself. Also looking at your product page order form. So if you're sending traffic to a product page, looking at your order form message, the messaging that's going on in your order form, and in particular, looking at your carousel imagery. So on a product page, the most important section on your product page is your order form. So at the very, very top, and in your order form, it's your carousel imagery. So you should be looking at all of your carousel imagery in here and looking at, okay, are these images in the carousel really communicating why our offer is worth 10 times the price? And are they really selling our offer quickly enough? And the testing rule that I want to give you with all of this is test one variable at a time, okay? Or else you're going to never know what actually worked. So if you're doing a test, test your hero image, okay? And see if that actually improves. Or test your order form carousel imagery. Do another set of imagery and A/B test that versus your existing page and see if that works. Okay, that's the proper way to do it. The goal with all of this is to communicate the value of your offer more clearly and more quickly. That's what the goal is of messaging tests. So let's talk about why the path sells just as hard as the page. So you shouldn't just rely on doing an offer test and doing messaging tests. You also should be testing the journey to get to your offer and to buy your offer as well. So these are the different pages that I recommend testing. Test sending ad traffic to a sales landing page. Test sending traffic to a product page. Test sending traffic to a listicle page. Test sending traffic to an advertorial page, to a quiz page. And in our free trainings document, if you come down to the offer section, and this is a free document that I'll link below that you can get access to, which goes into all of this in much more depth. You can come down to this section down here, 5 good landing pages to test, and they give away our actual frameworks of what to use. So you'll be able to click into these and actually see from them how you can actually structure your pages. And you can copy this framework, copy the image, give it to AI, and you can have AI build you much more optimized pages as well that you can send ad traffic to. So coming back into this, the key principle behind this is you're testing a different path that people can actually go through that will out-convert your current path, your current funnel. And the goal with this is to find the user journey that converts cold traffic the best. So let's now go on to knowing your customer better than your competitors do. So this is all to do with research and data. And this is critically important because if you do not know your customers, you won't know what to sell them. Now that's why I have this quote. If you know your customers on a deep, intimate level, the more you know them, the easier it is going to be to sell them. So great offers come from real customer intel, not guessing. And the 3 most important things you need to know is their language, how they actually describe the problem that they have or the solution that they're looking for. Desire, what are they really looking at actually buying? And this is important because sometimes when we actually look at the brands that are actually selling to their customers, it turns out that the real reason why people were buying were not the reasons that the brand originally thought that they were buying for. So that's a really important one. And then thirdly, friction. So what is stopping them from buying today? That could be the objections that they have. That could be some fears that they're having. It could be issues with your funnel. Friction is a big topic as well. Now, how does better research actually sharpen everything? Well, it feeds into everything. The better you know your customers, the better your copywriting is going to be. The better your offers are going to resonate with them. The better you can position them, okay? The better your ads are going to be because they're going to be more tailored to what people are going to resonate with and the pain points and the keywords that people are looking for. And the better your landing pages are going to be structured as well. So what you're going to actually need to do is you're going to need to research your customers. And there's a few different strategies that we share, really, really powerful ones in our free training doc over here. Just come to the image writing module, which is module number 3. Go down to deep research and you can steal our strategies in here. We've got like 6 of them in there for you for free. You can steal and get some really, really powerful data on with. And once you actually have all of that data collected in literally, it can just be a Google spreadsheet, feed that data into AI, just give it the Google spreadsheet. Tell AI to rebuild your ICP, of your customer, and that is going to give you much sharper copy and offer recommendations back out. And you can feed that ICP whenever you're building an ad, whenever you're building an email, whenever you're doing an offer test, whenever you're building a landing page. And you're going to be able to really, really build much more higher converting pages with that. Now let's talk a little bit more about messaging again and why you only have 5 seconds to really sell people. Attention span is less than 5 seconds today. It's about 2 to 5 seconds online. And that's thanks to TikTok and Instagram and all of those nice things that are draining people's attention. And this is why I tell people that the faster you sell, the more you're going to be able to sell. And image writing is our technique that we use to be able to sell within 5 seconds. And how we do that is by combining images and words strategically so that they sell together as one unit, not as 2 separate things. To better explain this, let me show you this example. In the before example, the image is kind of doing one thing, the text is kind of being cut off and it's not really, it's really, really hard to read. You can see from this asset, to be able to get the message of what this is trying to sell me, it's going to take me more than 5 seconds. It's not clear, it's not instant. It's not instantly obvious what this is communicating to me. In this example over here, the after example that we did, the image and the headline are both saying the same thing. find your inner peace is also visually communicated in the image. And you can see the person using the product to achieve this. And then we're explaining in the subheadline a little bit, we're giving a bit more context of how it actually achieves that. And then we got some bullet points around it. This is image writing, where the image and the copywriting work together to communicate the same sales message. Okay. And if you apply this technique to every single section on your landing page, you are going to be able to convert more people because your message, your offer is going to reach more people. You're going to be able to communicate the value to more people and apply this to your ads and your emails as well. You're just going to get even more results. Now, because we covered images, and hopefully you know now why images are so important in actually selling people and communicating your offer, here's how you can actually upgrade your images with AI. So it's a dead simple workflow. You can gather inspiration on Pinterest. You can use Claude to build you the prompt. You can then generate the image with, I recommend Google Gemini, Nano Banana is a good one to use. And then you refine and iterate it. But what you need to do is you need to give the AI good inputs. Your inputs are going to affect the outputs, okay? So inspiration really matters. And then giving it your brand colors, your fonts, the product name, copy that you need to add, your logo, the mood lighting, the angle. And the best thing that I would say that you can do is to give it a style that it can copy. So have a really good reference that you can give to it that AI can mimic, instead of just allowing it to create itself, because oftentimes when you give it a style, it's going to output something far better than what it invents. And here's an example. You can see in this previous example, the client asset was just this. We got AI to regenerate the font, regenerate the background, to better crop the image, and look at the before and after. It's you might think stuff like this is subtle, but even if this was, let's say, imagine if this was just a 10% improvement, it's obviously a much bigger improvement than 10%. But even if you were able to just do a 10% improvement, imagine doing that to all of your images across your ads, your emails, your landing page. That will quickly stack up to 100%, 200%, 300% better across your entire funnel, okay? And that is going to communicate the value you offer much better, increase your conversions, increase your profit per visitor. And that is what we're aiming for. So let's now talk about what good design actually is. Good design means high converting design, and it's really covered by these 7 laws. So design in mobile first. So whenever you're prompting AI, or whenever you're getting your designer to design something, or whenever you're optimizing something, you should always be looking at it in mobile first. Okay, looking at your mobile, because this is where 90% of e-commerce traffic today browses and buys from. They're on a mobile device. And one thing that I want you to remember, which is the second law, is to communicate one idea per section. And this could mean per ad, per email, per landing page, and even per section on that landing page. One idea per section. You don't want to try and communicate 2 different things or 3 different things. When you do that, your messaging starts to get diluted. And every section that you have, every ad, every email, every landing page section needs to be selling. It can't be there just to be a brand asset. Some people come back and they try and sell it and tell me that. They say, oh, that email is just to help us improve our branding, or that section on the landing page is just a brand section. That doesn't exist in my world. Every section should be selling. If it's not selling, it shouldn't be there. It's just decoration. And you can still make a section sell and be improving your brand if you do it the right way. But you should never prioritize branding over selling. Okay, those 2 things should be the same thing when done right. Use image writing. Use our technique. If you want to learn a little bit more about this, again, it's we got a whole section in the free training on this, and we've got a whole module in our course, in our program dedicated to this as well. So yeah, it's going to teach you a lot on that. Perfection, when it comes to good design, means 0 friction. Okay, so that's really the goal of what you're aiming for. That's what you should be telling Claude when it's outputting a landing page. Because oftentimes some people are using Claude now to output landing pages. They're spitting out pages with like 7, 10 sections in there, when maybe they could have done that landing page in 5 sections or in 4 sections if they're a bit more strategic. And the whole thing here is 0 friction. You want to be selling people in the least amount of sections, with the least amount of words, with the least amount of anything. It's all about speed. It's all about reducing the effort for people to browse and buy what you're actually selling them. When you're spending millions and millions on ad spend, when you've got millions of people hitting your store each month, this is going to really matter. And you're going to really see what I mean here. A golden rule of optimization is to optimize by 10%, not do a full redesign. I see people all the time doing crazy redesigns and just hoping that it's going to move the needle. the better way to actually do it is to optimize each section by 10% each week. And when you do that, you're going to stack gains very, very quickly because you're going to be optimizing much more strategically. And when I say 10%, I mean your offer, improving how you communicate your offer by 10%, improving how you reduce friction to your offer by 10%. And prioritize high impact zones first. These mean zones of your store, of your funnel that get a lot of traffic. You wouldn't optimize, let's say, an about page if it was getting 100 visitors per month, but I do see some people sometimes doing that. What you'd be better off spending your time and energy on is optimizing the areas of your store that get the most sales and get the most traffic. And that's where your biggest results are going to come from. And what you need to ask on every page is, what do I actually need here to sell this offer? It's a really good question to ask yourself because it's going to make you think a lot more strategically. And if you want a bit more of a practical roadmap of what you can actually do to start optimizing your store and your funnel, you can actually screenshot all of this and feed it to Claude. These are the places that move the needle most: your mobile navigation menu, hero sections, carousels, FAQs, order form, offer sections, etc. All of this is explained in more depth on the free trainings. We have a whole module dedicated to conversion design that goes a lot deeper onto all of this. We've also got videos in here that you can actually see me optimize different sections, how to do heat map and scroll map audits, how to optimize pages with AI. It's pretty in-depth. You get it all there. So, quick wins by page. If you want to optimize your store, and this means your store, so we're not talking about your acquisition funnel, your store, here are some tips to optimize your homepage, your navigation menu, your collection page, your product page. Again, I won't go through all of this. You can screenshot this if you don't want to open our free training doc, but if you want to open up our free training doc, they're all in here as well. Okay, so that's going to help you a ton. And the final thing I want to cover is a very, very important one. It's a question that I get asked a lot. You can see someone asked even recently, what do you think? Should we validate every change with an A/B test, or are there certain improvements that we should directly implement because it's clear they're better? For example, changes to the navigation menu or upsell section or something like that. So what this person is really asking in our group is he's saying, well, some things that we are thinking about implementing are just so obvious that we know that if we implemented them to, let's say, a 90% degree, they're going to win. Do we still need to split test them? My answer to this is that you do not need to split test everything. And in fact, I would say that you shouldn't be split testing everything, because if you're split testing everything, that means that you're going at a ridiculously slow pace. Think about it. If you had to split test every single thing that you're thinking about changing or improving, you would be stuck for months trying to get new things rolled out, just because of how long and how time consuming the whole split testing process takes. What I say to people is you should be doing about 4 to 6 split tests a month, but they should be reserved for the most critical tests, the tests that you're really looking for data on, tests that are really, really going to either really scale up your offer or they could tank your offer's performance. So things like that, really, really big needle mover tests that you want data on, those are the things that you should be reserving for split testing. Other things that are completely obvious, like 10% better improvements, those are things that you should be just rolling out, every week. But still track them on a Google Sheet. Just so if there's a rare case where something that you do implement has a negative impact on performance, you can track it back and know exactly what you changed, when you changed it, and you can easily roll that change back. Okay. So if you want to dive deeper into all of this, into split testing, into how to optimize your entire store, into how to build better landing pages, and how to build this profit flywheel by launching better offers and more offers, then check out the link below. I'm going to give you access to our free training document, which is this massive document. You can even print off this document and give it to your AI, and it's obviously going to be a lot smarter by going through this after as well once you give it to it.